So I'm doing an early line reconnaissance mission to the Andrew J. Brady Music Center here in Cincinnati, Ohio. I wanted to take a second to just confirm for anyone who's watching that this isn't becoming just a Babymetal channel. I have been fully concentrating on what will make me mentally able to continue going, and right now that's been focusing on music. And I did have this concert. It's been planned and paced for months now, and it's something the whole family's been looking forward to. Yeah, here we are, and I should be at the center to see if there's a line in a few minutes here. We are in the San Antonio airport on the way for our two-flight trip to Cincinnati to see Babymetal. This is probably the most we've spent and the farthest we've traveled to see a single band play ever. We had to pick up Scarlett from school, and she's clearly deranged. But yeah, leg one, San Antonio on the way to Chicago O'Hare, where we will get a connecting flight to Cincinnati, which doesn't make any sense. We'll be landing in Cincinnati at 10 p.m. to take a 40-minute trolley to our hotel downtown, which thankfully is only a couple of blocks from the venue where Babymetal will be playing in Cincinnati, Ohio. What's that? Joy of bringing chips on the plane is when the air pressure change blows up the bag like a balloon. So this will be my reaction to the Babymetal show in Cincinnati. In order to stay present during the show, I actually did very little recording of the band playing themselves. However, I did do a couple of video snippets, and as you'll see, most of my focus was on how my kid reacted to the show. And that's why I decided to get balcony left, because if we were down on the floor, not only would she not have been able to see anything in the middle of that insane crowd. This place was a capacity of about 4,500, and there were 4,500 people there. But with the pit and everything, she might have been trampled. We had a great vantage point. I did get there early, was super early in line, and made a lot of friends, which really is my first point. I walked down from our hotel in Cincinnati downtown to near the river with a beautiful view of Kentucky right across the river and the bridges. And it was a great place to hang. It was cold. It was cloudy as hell, super dreary in terms of weather, but at least it did not rain. It was about 40 degrees. So really I had a hoodie and my denim jacket over that, and it was fine. I just wish I had gloves. And I was out there about 7.5 hours before most other people got there. But yeah, pretty soon after I got there, people did start showing up. I do want to say before people started showing up, I decided to go ahead and take a walk around that area. And there's a gorgeous park by the Riverwalk there, which I was able to check out and just walk around and see the sights of that area of Cincinnati. But most importantly, I discovered the fairly new Cincinnati Black Music Walk of Fame.
I'll be forced to give you a ticket. So get with it.
Now, of course, I was already excited to see this and to see these artists get recognition in such a public venue out in the outdoors of Cincinnati, right by the stadium and right by the Andrew J. Brady Music Center, which is where we were seeing Babymetal later that day. but also it's so ridiculously interactive. And I guess I will heighten the word ridiculous because a lot of the exhibitions or the things there, you record yourself dancing to music and you can send those videos to yourself.
I hope y'all ready. Yeah, man, are you ready? Gentlemen, are you ready? Cause we getting ready to blow this mama.
And of course, I have no shame, so I did that a lot. Now, I knew Scarlett, my kid, would really love this as well, so I sent the videos. They both got to the line at about 3:30, nearly 4, about 4-ish hours after I got there. By that point, I already had secured myself a spot way up at the front of the line with a lot of people. One person I had met on Reddit, so that was pretty exciting. And we got to talking. And when Scarlett arrived in her Babymetal outfit that Tiff made for her, of course, she was already a talk of the line. Now, it didn't take Scarlett very long to go to the Walk of Fame and do some dance videos herself, which gave her something to do while we waited in line, first off. But that didn't have to take very long because there was another kid there, another little girl, exactly her age, maybe a couple months younger, who had her own Babymetal outfit on, older style Babymetal outfit. But they ended up playing and hanging out the rest of the night that we waited and became pen pals later that day. Now, I did take pictures, but for the privacy of that little girl, I'm going to keep the pictures off of this video. But how exciting to meet her first concert friend at Babymetal. And I was able to connect with her parents that way. And some of the friends that we made in line would leave the line and play with them and then come back to where we were. So it was really all over a great, joyful line experience. I made some other friends. I was able to get some merch, which I was not expecting to do because of a variety of reasons. But I'm super grateful for the people we met. It just really increased the value of going and traveling so far to see a band play. It really did. Now, the other kind of nice thing is that area of Cincinnati by the river where the Andrew J. Brady Center is beautiful. And as dusk turned into early evening and the dreariness of the clouds made way for the lights of the city, it became a beautiful place to wait in line for a concert. It was a magical feeling to stand by the water with the bridge light up and the city lights on the other side of the bridge also light up. And it was just a very nice atmosphere for waiting in line. And it helped warm you up when you're very cold. Tiff ended up going to a restaurant down the way, got a bunch of delicious salted potato wedges and brought, so the friends we had in line, she shared, a bunch of people had some of the potato wedges. So it was almost like a little picnic with our new Babymetal friends. All right, let's get to the show. As I said, we had secured some general admission balcony area seating, and that was on the left side. So we went and we stood there and we waited, and the doors were at 6:30. The first band, Scene Queen, was on at 8:30, which after waiting for all the time that I did, and then to get into the venue and have to wait by the time we got to our spot, another hour and a half, seemed daunting at the time. But to be honest, it really wasn't, because by the time we got up there, other people were shuffling in. Scarlett saw other people who were dressed up. She was able to say hi and wave. And Tiff got some hot dogs, and we were able to just hang out and be pretty comfortable up in the balcony. The little girl who Scarlett met outside was actually right behind us in the show itself. She was able to hang out with them some more and get a little more little kid time before the first band went on. I'll talk about the first band. Scene Queen was an odd mix of metalcore with, I don't know if you would call it dance or EDM, very feminist themes, which I really enjoyed. I will say that I guess her name is Hannah Rose, goes by Scene Queen, is the lead singer and songwriter. And she's not shy about screaming any kind of rage about injustices, from anti-patriarchy to the discomfort that some women feel at big metal festivals or other kinds of festivals, or really other kinds of similar type injustices. And I liked her performance. With her, there was one guitarist and one drummer, and I guess the rest was backing track stuff, but we all liked her. In fact, Scarlett even mentioned that she liked her as well.
Why do you feel good?
Because last night I saw Babymetal. It was awesome, but I liked the pink girl too. She says bad words.
I will point out here that it was during Scene Queen that I noticed that the mix, the sound mix at the Andrew J. Brady was a little bit off. I think maybe partly it was because we were in the balcony, really extreme to the left of the stage, but I'll speak more on that a little bit later. And I won't say too much, partly because the reactions on Reddit to the show regarding the sound mix were a little bit more vitriolic than I would be. That being said, it sounded fine for a live metal performance, certainly with my long past history of going to shows where, frankly, sound mixes were always a lot worse than mixed. But I did notice that the guitarist was not as audible as, say, the backing track was. So you start to see, oh, the mix is a little bit off. There are some things that I think I should be hearing that I'm not. And unfortunately, with Scene Queen, that seemed to be the first indication of what might come later. But I do want to say one last thing about Scene Queen was there was one, I thought, fairly touching story about Scene Queen's experience early in her career and telling a fairly touching story about Babymetal.
But then he said, I need you to chill out and make me a list. I need you to make me a list of bands that you dream of going on tour with one day that you think will never fucking happen for you. And guess what? On that list, I put the band Babymetal. And wouldn't you believe? Being here is really fucking cool because, like, obviously I love Babymetal's music. Obviously, this is a big fucking crowd, which is super exciting. But mainly, I'm excited to be here because for me personally, there was a time in metal music before Babymetal came onto the scene, and a time in metal music after Babymetal came onto the scene. And that time after is so much more inviting to women, people of all different genres, people of all different backgrounds. And when I was sitting in that car complaining about like how tough it was to make my way in the scene, Babymetal was out here dealing with a million people telling them that this isn't metal enough, this isn't this isn't that. But you guys are all fucking proof that it is, and it's super cool to be here. And I'm so thankful to be a part of their story here in...
All right, let's get to Babymetal. I will say that Scene Queen came on right at 8:30. There was not a ton of waiting beyond, in fact, almost any waiting beyond what you would expect. That band starts at this time. Sometimes you're at a show and it starts like an hour late. That was not the case at this show. And so there was not a lot of wait between Scene Queen and Babymetal either. The one thing I'll say is in that interim, of course, they had to take down Scene Queen stuff and start putting together Babymetal stuff. And Babymetal is an act that involves almost 100% fully choreographed dancing. So on top of the commie band playing behind Babymetal, you have to lay down the floor for dancing. There are 3 different little platforms for each of the performers. You've got Moa Metal, Momo Metal, and in the middle, Sue Metal, the lead singer. And so there's a platform for each of them. There are tables they set up in the back for different kind of props they use, like flags and whatnot, masks that come up during the show. I did notice what I found almost meditatively interesting was one guy laying down a floor and duct taping around the perimeter and doing that with such precision, just 1 inch at a time, laying the duct tape around the edge of the floor to make sure there were no bumps at all that a performer could trip on. One of the reasons I love Babymetal is because whether it's the commie band, the guitarist, the bassist, the drummers, or Babymetal themselves with Sue's singing, or or Moa and Momo's dancing. Everything is a well-oiled machine, and every performer is just at the utmost skill level. Excellent dancing, excellent singing, excellent musicianship, but also behind the scenes, the lighting and some of the other kind of what's showing behind on the screen behind the band. The show is made to be a top-notch performance from everybody. And it was fascinating to see that includes some of the crew members who were tuning their instruments, laying down that floor, setting up those platforms. And I didn't record any of it, and I regret it because I felt like they were artists in their own right. So, of course, Babymetal went on and started with the introduction, followed by Babymetal Death, the first song. And of course, it was what I expected in these last few tours. Babymetal Death is how they introduce themselves. It makes sense. But the best part about it was Starlet's reaction, because she loves that song and she loves to chant Babymetal Death, and see for yourself.
With Babymetal.
The two songs she wanted to hear most were Ratatata and Papaya, and both of them came on, and she acted appropriately when they did. And she was able to get up on the little railing of the barrier we were on and get such a great view, and constantly was bouncing, throwing up the kitsune or fox symbol sign, and really you could tell was having the time of her life. I will just say one other thing about the mix. Again, I want to preface this by saying a live mix, especially on a really long and arduous tour like Babymetal is going on, where they probably don't have a lot of time for sound checking and pre-preparation before this. It was definitely off, but it wasn't really bad. And I'm only saying that because I've seen some reactions that are a little overly critical about the sound mix, not of Babymetal, but of the venue, the Andrew J. Brady Music Center. And I just want to push back a little bit on just how bad it was, because it wasn't. There were a couple of times, especially with Distortion, which was the second song. It's the first song that has full Sue metal vocals. And not only that, the thing about Distortion is it goes from Sue, the verse of it is a very pulled back vocal style, but then it goes into the chorus, which is a really loud and bombastic vocal style. It was in that song where you could see maybe there might have been a little bit of trouble where Sue couldn't quite hear herself. And that's why you couldn't quite hear her very well in the verse. And then you heard her a little too well in the chorus. But it very quickly leveled out after that. And certainly the mix got better after that. Interestingly, the best mix was for the encore, where they played Headbanger and Road of Resistance, was probably the best the mix sounded. So it feels like they were improving as they went. That could be just me getting tired during the show. But another example of any kind of mix is before Metalli, the Kami band each band member did a solo. And the guitarist, who was on our side, we couldn't see him at all because the curtain completely covered him because of where we were. But we heard him very loudly. And the other guitarist on the other side of the stage, when he did his solo, we could hear the solo, but very, very quietly. It was muted. And so there was it's an obvious mixing partly because whatever the mix was at the venue, but probably more so that we were on the exact opposite side of that big venue from where that guitarist was. The drummer and the bassist sounded outstanding. The whole band sounded outstanding. It was just a bit of a mix there that we could tell. That's all I'm going to say about the mix, and any other kind of what could be construed as complaints from me. I will say one other thing from what I've been reading, and this actually turns out to be true, is there's the song Karate, which is from Metal Resistance back in like 2016, I think. Older song. And there's a song from their last album called Monochrome, which is one of my favorite songs of all time. And what's interesting is I love Karate, but I just love Monochrome more. And part of their performance for both of those songs is they have the audience shine the light from their phone to create this kind of starlight look and feel. And so you're either going to see them play Karate or you're going to see them play Monochrome, not both. And so it would only be Babymetal that takes a song I love like Karate and makes me disappointed when I hear the opening notes. I was saddened to realize when that started playing that I wasn't going to get Monochrome. And that was hard. That was the hardest part of the night for me, was that I wasn't going to get Monochrome. I just had to get over it. That's just what it was. But that's my only real kind of feeling. Because I had already prepared myself, and it's just the nature of the game that when you see a band that you love and they now have a history of a whole catalog, I guess you would call it, a whole history of songs, that you're not going to get to hear songs that you really love. And of course, that was the case. There are songs that they have that are my favorite songs ever that I will probably never, ever get to see them play. Like From Dusk Till Dawn, or Syncopation, or any of the Black Babymetal songs like Sis Anger, or Onidari, or any of these great songs. I'll probably never get to see them play, and I just have to live with that and be happy with what I did get to see, which was outstanding. But so that's what I'll say. The good news to that aspect is what we did get to see and experience as a family and our new friends was an outstanding, surreal, and whirlwind performance by Babymetal. A bunch of artists absolutely at the top of their game, next level in terms of musicianship, songwriting, performance art, dance, singing. Everything is top tier. And I appreciate that and love it, and I love this band. And it was just a brilliant time. That being said, after the show was over, Tiff said, that was it? They played 2 songs. And yeah, it goes really fast. And you wish that they would play for 4 hours, but you get 1 hour or a little bit more. And it does feel very short, but they look exhausted. You feel exhausted. I will say this. I have gout, and on my right foot, the big toe of my right foot was in so much pain while we were waiting in line that even walking from where we were in line to the Cincinnati Black Music Walk of Fame, just a couple of yards down, I was limping. I was barely able to move. In line with my friends, I had to sit in the cold, wet grass because it hurt too much to stand. I did not know how I was going to get through this concert. Yet the anesthetic power of music, right? When Babymetal played, I was jumping up and down, dancing, moving around with my kid, and I felt nothing in my toe. It's absolutely insane. So I just had to bring that up. We did end up going back to the Walk of Fame because Scarlett insisted on doing a couple of other dances for that.
And guess what? You're now a massive part of it all too. So let's get ready to move, because we're about to have some fun. Don't worry about missing a beat. Just follow along with me and my crew. That's awesome.
But we couldn't stay there too long because both Tiff and I were absolutely wrecked. Our bodies needed to be at the hotel room immediately. And we had an uphill, like a slightly uphill downtown walk, about 12 minutes back to the hotel. Let me tell you, that 12 minutes felt like forever. But when we got there, we all tapped out and crashed and got ready for the 2-plane flight back the next day. And that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this reaction to the Babymetal show in Cincinnati, which happened this past weekend on the 23rd of November, 2024. I am in the middle of a conundrum here because my original shows that I was doing for this YouTube channel got interrupted by a terrible election. And the only thing keeping me going was Babymetal and the prospect of this concert. And then after the concert, the prospect of making this YouTube channel episode where I can talk about the Babymetal concert. And now I'm going to have to face the prospect of getting back to reality. And I'm not going to lie about it. I'm a little terrified. If anyone has any ideas, please let me know in the comments or send me messages some way if you know me. But I'd like to know where I should go from here and what people would like to hear, if anything, to keep me going and these ideas going, and are any community that we can make to actually grow the little bit of a seed that may have started, because this is still a very, very small channel. But hey, on that point, let's make it grow. If you could share it or click that like button, click that subscribe button, and that little bell so you get a notification when I do decide to put up the next episode, that would help me out a whole lot. And more than that, it will motivate me to actually keep doing this series. And we'll see. I look forward to hearing back from you and any ideas that any of you might have. And until then, let's head into this Thanksgiving holiday, trying desperately to grasp onto anything in this world and life and existence that we can feel gratitude for. Of course, luckily for me, right now, I can feel gratitude for going to see Babymetal in Cincinnati with my family, which was just a magical experience. And until next time, adios.